In my clinic here, I've helped hundreds of people get through their shoulder pain and the issues, and in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 strategies that I think provide the most bang for buck. There are a lot of reasons why shoulders can become messed up, but I see addressing things like a bias towards internal rotation of the shoulders and a lack of movement in your rib cage to give some of the easiest and quickest wins. If you want to do something like an overhead press, it's impossible to do that without having some negative consequences if you have issues in these 2 areas. How much your shoulders need to move really depends on what you want them to do, but it should really go without saying, should be kind of logic that we should have similar movement in both shoulders, and there's a whole interwebs of assessments that you could do on the shoulders, but a couple of quick things that you can do to see where you're at is bringing your elbow to the wall, back against the wall, and you're going to look to touch the back of your palm to the wall. When you first do this, it can seem like it's easy to do, but you want to pay attention to what's happening at your back. So you want to see if you can have as much of your back on the wall and touch the wall with your hands without moving your back. You will start to realize that you do need some extension in your rib cage to do this, and seeing if you can tune into that movement is a really important thing to do, especially as we said, if you want to do anything overhead. So seeing if you can keep your head and your butt on the wall and get as much of your back on the wall and extend that rib cage back and forth will really show if you have that body awareness to find that position and see if you have some sort of command over that extension of the rib cage. Optimal shoulder blade movement is really important for a healthy shoulder, and in this exercise we're going to look to try and drill some of those movements of the shoulder blade as well as get some of those muscles to tune on around. Now, rows, banded rows and things like that are probably something that you've done if you have an issue with your shoulder. And this is an exercise that I came up with to see if we can use our arms to help bias our upward and downward rotation of our scapula. So rows and pinching our shoulders together aren't necessarily a great exercise if you have some sort of issue with your shoulder, because our shoulder blades don't work like that. We're actually looking to keep our shoulder blades close to our rib cage, and as we're going to let our arms roll in, we're going to have those scapula move around the rib cage, and as we let the hands roll out, as we pull back, we're looking to see the shoulder blades roll back down. Now, we don't want to actually squeeze the shoulder blades here. We're just looking to train this movement and get our head around movement of the shoulder blades around the rib cage and look at how our rib cage movement ties into that. Because it's very difficult to have optimal shoulder mechanics if our rib cage is stuck in one of these positions. So we're looking to move between both of these. Our lats are one of the strongest internal rotators of our shoulder and something that often gets missed. I'm super surprised when I see people come in here that may have struggled with shoulder pain for a year or even more, and they haven't done anything for their lats. And I don't exaggerate when sometimes I say this is a bit of a magic trick to see what it does for people who have struggled with shoulder issues for many years. So we want to look to try and restore our movement through our lats. And one way we can do that, firstly, we're going to come onto the ground, find our lat tendon in the back of our armpit. We're going to place a ball there. Now, it's often good to do this exercise pre and post those tests, or even just look at your overhead movement or laying on the ground and touching the floor behind you to see where your lats are at. We're then going to follow that up with some isometric loading into our lats. Now, in this exercise, I'm just using a stick. I usually like to use something bigger like a broomstick, but what we're going to do is we're going to push the stick away, and you'll see I move my armpit and my hips away from each other. So we're looking to lengthen that area. Once we do that, we're going to hold for around 30 seconds. Then we're going to push the stick as hard as we can into the ground. And then we're going to look to lift off the ground. So we're looking for a 10-second push and a 5 to 10-second hold. We're going to do 3 reps of that one. Once we start to restore a bit of movement around the shoulder, I really like to make sure we do some sort of loaded full range of movement strategies. And I've got a multitude of these things, but here's a couple that I like. For example, taking a plate or a kettlebell and moving it in circles around the head. You'll see that the shoulder blades have to move through a lot of different movements as we do this. And these exercises themselves can be great self-assessments, because you might find you have some sort of sticking point, either going in one direction or at a certain point, and then you can come back and find a strategy to see, whether you need to get some more stability or some more range in those little sticking points. Other things I like are push-ups, doing some rotational work through the shoulders there, so another nice loaded strategy, and hangs. But I particularly enjoy doing hangs where I'm having my palms facing me. So we're looking to externally rotate the shoulder. And we're also looking to tuck the hip under so we're not getting that arch in our back. We need to find that extension through the rib cage itself. So I've moved through that fairly quickly, and I've got the gist of things that people tend to like, things to move fast on YouTube, etc. But if there's anything else you want me to dive into there, I'm happy to look at that separately. If you have any questions, please ask. And if you'd like to see a full range of how I move these strategies through my 4-phase system called Stretch Yourself Strong, please grab the book. It's in the link. Join one of our programs. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. See you in the next one.